What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 105 of Maine-Ly Heckin Sports. I'm your host, Carter Bruce, back again with another episode for y'all, and I'm going to keep it real. I know a few episodes ago, I apologized for being strictly football, and this episode's not going to be 100% football. We have four topics. We're just going to be 75% football. I'm going to get UFC 270 out of the way, and then, guys, if you were expecting anything but football, after a divisional round weekend, you're nuts. That was the best divisional round series, all four games combined in NFL history. And we have a lot to get to besides the games, the teams, the players that have been eliminated, a couple in question, a couple all-time greats in question of whether they'll be returning to their team and to football in general. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Hope you guys enjoy Saturday's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Continue to kill it throughout the week. Stay motivated, work hard, do what you got to do, basically. Do what you got to do to survive the day, to get through the day, to get through the week, to get to the weekend. And again, I know we're back. We're on visual. I know last episode I was speaking as if it were visual, just didn't happen to work out. But this episode will be on the Sports Wave YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, I'm recording this on Tuesday, so we have enough time to get it set up on Wednesday. That's what I'm generally going to be having to do, is record this a day earlier. Just the Saturday's episode just had to be done on that day. But regardless, hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Love y'all. Let's get into it. So UFC 270. And I want to start off with referring to an old meme. It said, I am confusion. Because not only with some of the decisions, but with the card. Because if you guys remember, I can't remember if it was 103, 102, whatever episode it was, but I made predictions for the card, and I was going strictly off of, if you can look up UFC 270, what the card was on their website. And the only two fights that were on the main card that I talked about were the two championship fights. The other three fights, I had no idea were happening. And that's just my casualness really, really creeping in. I was kind of like, wow, so I'm going to cover three fights, the three before the championship fights I'll run through, but I'm going to talk about three fights that I didn't even bring up or know that were happening. So definitely need to do a deeper dive into these UFC cards, because I would have figured that I can trust UFC's official website and what they drop. I guess not. I know things happen. People drop out of fights change, but it would be nice if those were updated on the website. Just want to say that real quick. So let's just get into it, starting with Michael Morales and Trevin Giles. That was a beautiful knockout, a beautiful TKO. Michael Morales is a UFC debut. He was 12-0 before this fight, moves to 13-0, and with 4 minutes and 6 seconds left, knocked the shit out of Trevin Giles. Giles is now 5-4 in the UFC, so he's experienced in the UFC, but he's not a very high-level UFC fighter. He's 14-4 in his career. Knockdowns, Morales had 1 to Giles 0. Total strikes, it was 26-8. But Giles early in the fight did have a takedown, did have a submission attempt that kind of had people worry because, Morales, like we've talked about before, whenever we have guys that come into the UFC that are undefeated, people, even if you don't know their name, you're interested in them because they are undefeated. You want to see, okay, well, are they the real deal? Can they win in the UFC? They've been winning in these outside promotions. So are they, UFC potential? How long will they be able to keep their streak going in the UFC before somebody breaks it? You always look at their first fight. Okay, will the pressure get to them because this is the first fight card of the year? If you're on the main card, it's big news. It's big business. It's a lot of pressure, but Morales lived up to that pressure, knocked him out, and got it out in the first round. And it really started off the card very, very nicely. So it was nice to watch that. I was kind of in between because they were on around the same time. As you know, the fight card was the same night as the Bengals, Titans, 49ers, and Packers game. So obviously I was watching football more, but I had kind of a dual screen going where football was on the screen and the UFC card was on my phone. So it's nice to see. It's always phenomenal for a main card to open up with a knockout. So can't really complain other than that. Next fight, we had Saeed Nurmagomedov one of Habib's relatives. He defeated Koistaman in typical Nurmagomedov fashion. Submitted him within 47 seconds. It was a guillotine choke, 47 seconds of the first round. Nurmagomedov is now 4-1 in the UFC, 15-2 in his career. Stamann is now 5-4-1 in the UFC and is 5-1 in his total career. It was just like, guys, there's not much you can do in 47 seconds. He did land 7 strikes. He had that one takedown. The one takedown led to the submission. And it just seems like guys that Habib is involved with, they're just masterclass wrestlers. Obviously, that's who Habib was. He was a masterclass wrestler, ground and pound guy, submission guy. And once he got you on the ground, it was basically over. There's no way you were getting out of that. There was no way you were getting up without getting submitted. And it seems as though many, many people within his camp and that he's coaching are following in those footsteps. So I didn't think it would be that fast of a fight. If I'm going to see, in my personal opinion, being the casual I am, being the new fans of the UFC that I am, if I'm going to see a fight be finished in 47 seconds, I would much rather have it be finished via knockout than submission. That's just me. I know a lot of people are going to have a different opinion. If you're a real, I would say a real legit fan of MMA, if you've been a fan for a long time, if you have a wrestling background, if you like watching, Olympic wrestling, that kind of stuff, like jujitsu, and it's just not my thing to see it happen that quickly. I would like to see some striking, but what are you going to do to see someone finish another grown man? Huge pause to see Nurmagomedov choke that guy out in 47 seconds it should seem illegal that you're able to choke out another grown man in 47 seconds. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And the third fight before we get to the Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, we have Michael Pereira defeating Andre Fialho. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I'm really bad with names. But this was the first fight of the main card that went the distance. Michael Pereira won via unanimous decision. You kind of looked at their striking, and it was, though there were times where Andre had his moments. He landed some good strikes. Neither guy had a knockdown. Pereira had the only takedown. He outstruck him 107-45, but there is those moments that made it an interesting fight. Whenever a fight goes the distance, if it's not like a brutal beating, like a Habib beating that goes the distance, then it's always still a good fight, because those 45 strikes, he's going to get a few good ones in there. That's going to make you think, okay, if he kind of wobbles the guy, if he makes him, take a step back, it's like, okay, this fight can change, because it's a dumb saying, but anybody has a puncher's chance. So when someone lands a big shot, even if they've been getting their ass kicked for 2 rounds, it still makes it very interesting to see, okay, he landed that. How is he going to follow it up? Is he going to try and do a takedown? Is he going to try and really, go for the knockout? Because if he's down 2-0, he doesn't really have time to mess around and wait for another punch to connect. The first punch that connects for him in the second, third round, when he's lost 1 or 2 already, that's when someone has to really take advantage of the opportunity. And he tried that. It just didn't work out. And Pereira just went out there, beat him all 3 rounds very handily, landing over 100 strikes in 3 rounds. Good fight. It was a very, very good lead up to the first championship fight. And before I get into those 2 fights, I would say the card as a whole, it wasn't what I was expecting. In terms of, yes, there were some very, very good moments, but it wasn't marketed very well. And I was very excited. Just these 2 championship fights didn't go the way I thought they would. The fighters, they were apologizing after the fact. Nobody obviously got knocked out. There wasn't any serious moments where we thought anybody was going to be finished within either of the championship fights. I thought that the judging was pretty bad for both fight, especially for I might as well just talk, whatever. Deiveson Figueiredo beating Brandon Moreno via unanimous decision. It's 48-47, 48-47, 48-47. And it was bullshit. I'm going to start off with saying it was a bullshit ruling. If Deiveson was able, if either guy was to win, it should have been split decision. And I know my prediction was Brandon Moreno via unanimous decision win. You look at knockdowns. Figueiredo did have 3 to Moreno's 0, but none of Figueiredo's knockdowns were really that, legit. They were legit knockdowns, but they weren't anywhere Moreno was knocked down, and it was like, okay, he's done. Like, this fight's over. He hopped up really quick. Besides that one that was 12 seconds left in the third round, I believe, where Figueiredo went for the guillotine choke. So other than that, it's just, obviously it stands out on the card. 3 knockdowns to 0. When you look at the total strikes, Moreno 105, Figueiredo's 85. Takedowns, Figueiredo 2, Moreno 1. I thought, though, that Moreno's 1 takedown was more legit and more meaningful than Figueiredo's 2 takedowns. That was just my personal opinion. And Moreno, it just looked like a couple times he was getting overconfident. He was really just swinging away because he knows he has a lot more power than Figueiredo, and he had the understanding of that. He's like, okay, I can take a couple shots if I just throw one big punch at him. If it connects with him, it's over. But he doesn't realize if he misses those, he's taking 2-3 punches that he shouldn't be taking. And, Figueiredo, he was going in there. He was very nervous of Moreno's power because he would land a good strike and then he would lean in. Moreno would hit him with a good one, but not enough that should have been sending him back or deterring him from continuing to go in and try and finish the fight or, cause further damage to Moreno. It was very weird. You could tell these guys have fought each other, twice before. They were very cautious of each other's, fight style, of their power, of, what they're best able to do. They understand that if they made certain mistakes, the fight could have been over in a second. And I just thought that Figueiredo had to do more than what he did to beat the champion. That's my personal opinion, because we've seen situations, the biggest instance in where Johnny Hendricks went against GSP and he absolutely beat the piss out of GSP, but lost. I see fights like that where you see, John Jones, Dominic Reyes. John Jones is very, very even fight. I don't think Reyes won that fight, but a lot of people believe so. And I believe that Reyes did more damage to John Jones over the totality of the fight than what Figueiredo did to Moreno. Again, 3 knockdowns, 2 takedowns stands out like a sore thumb on a card. So obviously that leans heavily in his favor, especially you combine those two, and knockdowns and takedowns. Figueiredo has a total of 5 and Moreno has 1. Yes, he outstruck him 105 to 85. A lot of people are going to say, well, we value knockdowns and takedowns more. That obviously affects the judges' scorecards a lot more in terms of what point they assess or give to the other fighter. I just still thought that it was Moreno. I thought Moreno won 3 rounds to 2. I thought, if anything, it was 2-2 going into the final round, and then Moreno got that takedown in the 5th round. I thought it was Moreno. I thought he won split decision. I would never give Moreno unanimous decision. I would never give Figueiredo unanimous decision. I thought that was a joke. I thought it was an absolute shit show that he beat a champion unanimous decision and did, he did good damage, but he didn't do enough for me to unanimously beat the champion. It doesn't matter if you're the first time defending champion, 10-time defending champion. Obviously there is specifically with the GSP occasion, with the John Jones occasion, there is more leverage given to the champion when it goes to decision because they've been champion again and again and again. But Moreno, he's still champion. He still should be given benefit of the doubt. You have to truly 100% beat the champion. Like, for me, I'm going to compare this fight to Volkanovski and Max Holloway too. I thought Max Holloway did more damage to Volkanovski than what Figueiredo did to Brandon Moreno. And Figueiredo won unanimous decision, and Max Holloway lost split decision. So that, for me, just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the scoring system was here. I would have been fine if Figueiredo would have won split decision, but for this to be a unanimous decision win is bullshit. There's no other way to say it. I thought Moreno won the fight 100%. I wouldn't have been mad at a split decision, but a unanimous decision ruling, I'm repeating myself a lot, it just doesn't make any sense still when I'm trying to figure out wrap it around my brain right now. It doesn't make any sense. Did I think Moreno went out there and did exactly what he wanted to do? Absolutely not. He didn't look his best, but neither did Figueiredo. He went in there. You could tell he was a little afraid of Moreno's power. When he would go in, land a couple shots, Moreno would just have to land one to keep him off him. That was it. But now we face the thing as like, okay, do we want to see a 4th fight? kind of have to see a fourth fight because the flyweight division, there's really nobody else that's going to challenge these two, that's going to beat these two. That's just my personal opinion. They haven't done a good job at marketing the flyweight division enough to say, okay, let's not do a fourth fight between these two. Figueiredo to say, okay, maybe it's over. It's not over. I don't think it should be over. I think Moreno submitted, it was a majority draw. Then he finished you, and then you beat him a bogus unanimous decision. There should be a fourth fight, if anything. Maybe if the flyweight division was more compelling, like the other divisions in the UFC, then I would say, okay, maybe move on. Maybe Moreno wins another fight, and then you guys have a fourth fight. But who else in that division are you going to market? Nobody besides these two I can think of off the top of my head that are going to be draws. And I believe I saw, I can't remember who it was, say that these two should be the main event. And I agree to a certain extent. I think, but I'm very selfish. I like double championship fights. So I'm not sure who you would put below that, because I'm trying to think, I still think that the women's championship fights, if it's Pena Nunes, I still put that over that fourth fight. If it's Namajunas and someone else, I still put that over this fight. If it's Shevchenko, if I'm pronouncing her name right, sorry, but if it's Valentina, I'm putting her fight against anybody over this one. That's just me. And men's division, I can't really think of other men's division that I would say, okay, maybe Moreno and Figueiredo, their fourth fight goes over that first or second fight. I just can't. Maybe Volkanovski and Korean Zombie, if that were 3-4 months down the line, but it's not. It's coming up. It's March, I think, but I just don't think it's, it's too soon. Too soon. That's the only one I can think of, but I think that Volkanovski against anybody is a bigger draw than these guys for their fourth fight. But would I like to see that? Sure. But am I just really sitting on the edge of my seat saying I need to see a fourth fight? No, I'm just not. But I still think Moreno won. Now to the main event. Francis Ngannou defeated Ciryl Gane via unanimous decision, 48-47, 48-47, 49-46. I'm not as upset on this ruling as a lot of people were, or some people were. I thought Francis won the fight. Unanimous decision, I would have to say probably, because I had Gane winning the first 2 rounds, then I had him losing the last 3 rounds. When they went in definitely 100% into the 5th round, it was 2-2. It was 2-2, 1,000%. There's nobody that can tell me otherwise. And then when Gane got that takedown, I was like, okay, this is where he really takes over, the ground and pound. And then he went for a stupid submission. And then Francis, who, hand to God, surprised me more than any other fighter has that I've watched, and completely switching up what he was going to do in the fight. You could tell in the first round, after that first round, he was exhausted. Second round, exhausted, but he kept going. That wrestling he showed, the takedowns he displayed were phenomenal. I just think that when Francis did that first takedown, when he caught the leg and he did that when he body slammed the shit, like Batista bombed the shit out of Gane, it caught him by surprise. It completely sent shockwaves through Cyryl's mind. He's like, what the hell? This was not in the game plan. This is not what I was expecting. I don't know what to do from here. I am not used to being the guy who's taken down. I'm not used to being the guy that's, the other dude's just trying to ground and pound the shit out of me. Sorry if you guys heard that. It's Windows security. I hate this laptop sometimes. Sorry. So sorry if you guys heard that huge ding, but I just thought overall, I don't see how you can think that Gane won this fight. I was very disappointed by him after the first 2 rounds. I think just when he got up, he just wasn't really doing much on the feet after the first 2 rounds. Yeah, he outstruck Ngannou 63-43, but look at takedowns. Ngannou 4-1. And submissions, yes, it was 3-0. It was 3-0 for Gane, but it was just submissions that weren't going anywhere. And I know Francis didn't do huge damage on those takedowns. He didn't really land a lot of big shots on Gane because you could definitely tell he just wanted him to get him to the ground because he understands how big a takedown is in a fight, especially when it's not very expected out of a high-level striker that Francis is. And when I say high level, just having the most amount of power behind his punch than anybody on the planet. And I was just disappointed by this fight. I was very, very disappointed. I understand, Gane, he was, it looked like a cakewalk after the first 2 rounds. It really looked like Gane was going to win the fight. He was perfectly content with making the fight very boring, making a stand-up fight, maybe going for a couple takedowns, just and landing a bunch of kicks and just winning this via unanimous decision. And you could tell Francis's corner did a phenomenal job in giving him advice throughout the whole fight. They did a phenomenal job. He did a phenomenal job in executing it, doing exactly what they asked of him, and you could just tell Gane panicked. He panicked when Francis just did the unexpected and took him down. Second. I need some water, Jesus. But it was just not expected at all what happened in this fight. And it wasn't the fight I was expecting. It wasn't the fight I was hyped up to see. It didn't live up to expectations, my personal opinion. And I know people may disagree with this, but it just only emphasized my, opinion on what would happen if Jon Jones, even at heavyweight, fought either of these guys. He would kick their ass. I think obviously Francis would do probably fare better because he has that power and he's a much, much bigger guy. But Jon Jones just would wipe the floor with Ciryl Gane. His wrestling's too good. His striking's too good. He's seen guys, I don't think he's going to be intimidated by Cyryl's striking. Certainly Cyryl's wouldn't be intimidated by Jon Jones striking from, the least bit, because he's a very, very confident fighter. But you could tell he was very disappointed in his performance. As many people were. Francis was injured. He was, I just think Gane didn't take advantage of what was given to him, the given variables in the fight. Francis was extremely tired. He was injured. He didn't go in for enough kicks. He went for high kicks to the body, but wasn't going to any kicks to the leg, to the knee, and just didn't do a very good job outside of the first 2 rounds. And again, I will emphasize this one last time, and then we'll move on to some football stuff. Jon Jones would wipe the floor with both of these guys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what you have to argue. Jon Jones is wiping the floor with both of these guys. It wouldn't even be close. Just my personal opinion. Maybe that's just me being a huge fan of Jon Jones. I just don't think I just want to see it happen instead of hearing about it and then talking about it when it's just not going to happen. But happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Overall, good fight card. Didn't live up to my personal expectations, especially the 2 championship fights. There were some good moments though. In the co-main event, the main event was just kind of boring in my opinion. It could have been marketed much, much better. And I just think that at this point, it's going to be very hard to market the heavyweight and the flyweight division. That's just my personal opinion. But overall, decent way to start off the 2022 year with UFC. So hats off to Dana. Dana always killed it. Dana always does a great job though. But that's enough. Again, I will be unapologetic in saying the rest of this episode, if you came here, I doubt many came for UFC. If you came for NBA, if you came for anything besides football, you were sadly mistaken, because it's all out the window. NFL took over. It took over. Some of the best games I've watched in my entire life, some very unexpected results, some expected results in terms of who won the games, but divisional round weekend it just literally left me speechless. I was watching some of these games and going, okay, how can the other team do better? 50 seconds later, they score again. Okay, how is this even going to be possible for the other team to get, and they go down and score again? It was nothing short of spectacular. Every single game, even if it was a low scoring game, towards Sunday, we got the higher scoring games. Saturday, it was very low scoring games, but they are still so damn entertaining. And we have some, in my personal opinion, some of the best AFC, NFC championship matchups we could have had of all the playoffs. In terms of, not only is it these 2 teams that are playing against each other, and the AFC and the NFC have both played against one another, and the underdog both, won both of those regular season matchups. But it's providing some fresh faces to the AFC and NFC championship games, and it's beautiful to be some more beautiful football to watch. I just don't know that this divisional round can ever and will ever be topped. collectively, it's just every single game to be a walk-off, the first time in NFL history, was nuts. 3 of it being by field goal, 1 being by a walk-off overtime touchdown. It was unfreaking real. And I'm going to start off with Saturday's games. It's only right. I know we have the very hyped games on Sunday, but Bengals beating the Titans 19-16. Bengals with a walk-off field goal to win the game. Evan McPherson, whatever his name is, the rookie kicker, second biggest pair of nuts on the Bengals behind Joe Big Nut Burrow. This Bengals team is special. They're kind of, and I don't want to, this run reminds me much of the Hawks run last year in the Eastern Conference, getting to the, Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee, and everybody kind of expected what to happen. They won a few games, but ultimately they lost, but they went up against Philly, beat Philly when everyone was expecting, them to get their ass kicked. Even in their first round game, some people, first round set of games, people had them losing to New York, like myself. I had the Bengals winning and getting to the AFC Championship. So at least I was right on one of the two, but it's just very familiar feeling because it's a very young team going up against teams that people would think would beat them. Bengals just weren't looking that great at some points during the regular season. They were looking really good and then bad and then good and then bad. And here they are in the AFC Championship. And they shut the Titans down. That defense did a phenomenal job. And, Joe Burrow took an absolute beating. He finished the game 28-37, 348. He did throw a pick, but it's not worse than Ryan Tannehill, who was 15-24, 220, a touchdown, and 3 picks. And Ryan Tannehill was just god awful. He's a fucking horrible quarterback, in my opinion. And, if you bet on Ryan Tannehill, shame on you. He's just so mediocre. He is such a letdown in the playoffs. If you're a Tennessee Titan fan, I don't even see how you can want Ryan Tannehill on your team. Though he does have moments where he looks really good. It's just the bad outweighs the good, in my personal opinion. And Derrick Henry, I had a lot of people were telling me, no, Derrick Henry's going to look good. He's going to look on fresh legs. He's going to look, like he was the peak of this season. And he didn't. And it was much expected. I didn't expect him to look like the Derrick Henry from the regular season, the first 8 games of the regular season. How can you expect anybody to look as good as Derrick Henry did? To look even 80% as good as he did? You could definitely tell he was playing a step slow. There were certain runs where he only got 8 to 10 yards, where Derrick Henry in the regular season was getting 15 to 18 yards. 4 to 6, he was getting 8 to 10 or 10 to 12. Stiff arming, it was just completely different. You could tell he wasn't fully healthy. It's not like he or the Tennessee Titans pushed him to come back or really rushed him, because he did look like he could do some damage at certain runs, but it just wasn't all there. You could tell he was a little step slow. And we know the Bengals rush defense is a good rush defense. It's not like this impenetrable run defense that, nobody can go up against and beat, but they looked very good. They did a good job at holding Derrick Henry. I think that the Tennessee Titans did try and push Derrick Henry a little bit too much, because Freeman had some really good rushes and they kind of got him going late, but just wasn't all adding up. And especially when you have Ryan Tannehill just costing you 3 possessions, what can you do? And Joe Mixon, 14 carries, 54 yards, a touchdown, 6 catches, 51 yards. Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 109 yards. T. Higgins, I didn't write down his numbers, but that young offense, again, Burrow, Mixon, Chase, and Higgins, what a show. They are going to be a problem for years and years and years. And the only highlight of Tennessee's offense, Tannehill had 220 yards, 142 of those were to A.J. Brown, and it was when I said the bad outweighs the good, yeah, he had an absolute dime of a throw to A.J. Brown for their touchdown. It was phenomenal. Looked very, very good. But then it just goes out to be a shit show. And the Titans defense couldn't have done any more. They sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. 9 times Joe Burrow got put on his ass. And you couldn't help but feel bad for him. He's going out there, he's just giving it his all, doing the best he can with that offensive line that just stinks. Just overall, it's just that's why I predicted the Bengals to win. I just felt like overall they're the better team. Derrick Henry was not going to come back 100%. Without a fully healthy Derrick Henry, there was just no way I saw Tennessee beating the Bengals. I know it was a very, very close game and ended up, again, being a walk-off field goal. I just didn't see why people were saying Tennessee would blow the doors off the Bengals. It just didn't add up. What do they really overpower them in? Obviously, I understand Tennessee has a really, really good defensive line. But the plays where they're not getting to Burrow, he has the arsenal to really get down the field. And again, 9 times is an absolutely psychotic number. Like, no quarterback should be getting sacked 9 times, and he shouldn't be alive to tell the story. Joe Burrow, for all we know, should be in a coma from how many times he got his fucking head bashed in. And that's why he is Joe Big Nuts Burrow. That's why I thought they would beat the Titans. And the Bengals defense just did a phenomenal job as well. Got to give hats off to them, just not even in the run game, but the pass game, their secondary, picking, Ryan Tannehill off 3 times. Absolutely phenomenal job. Helping keep that offense in the game, keeping them in the game in general, because, when you're getting sacked 9 times, you're going to have possessions where they're 3 and out. And, it's hard to, really consistently bring pressure to the quarterback when you're on the field so much, like as the Titans were. But when they're giving the ball away for free to Cincinnati, there's just no way Cincinnati's going to lose that game with Tannehill throwing 3 picks. No shot in the world. Absolutely no shot in the world that Cincinnati was losing that game. And I'm very, very excited to see them in the AFC Championship. And for people saying they don't have a chance, think again. Because remember what happened a few weeks ago when who we're going to get to won. Obviously, the Chiefs won. They beat the Chiefs. We do our predictions later. Don't be shocked with my prediction because they beat the Chiefs already. But the next game, 49ers beating the Packers 13-10. The game, this game easily 1,000% brought me the most amount of joy a playoff game has since the Patriots last won the Super Bowl. Seeing Aaron Rodgers choke, just absolutely choke, was the best thing I could have imagined on a Saturday night. It was just absolutely amazing. And I will say, okay, Aaron Rodgers did not throw a pick, didn't fumble the ball, but he scored 10 points. 10 points as the MVP, most likely MVP. 10 points. Yes, I understand. Secondary, and not secondary. Jesus. Special teams. They got a field goal blocked. They got a punt blocked for a touchdown. But all you have to do is score more than 13 points to win this game. Your defense held a team. The excuse for Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs and him sucking in the playoffs, him losing games that he shouldn't lose, is his defense giving up a lot of points. And yes, that is true in certain instances for him if you look at his career. But where is the excuse now? Aaron Rodgers, all he had to do was score more than 13 points. MVP. Should be easy, right? Wrong. He sucked. Jimmy Garoppolo sucked. The 49ers still won. If you look at guys, Elijah Mitchell, 53 yards rushing, 3 catches, 18 yards. Deebo Samuel, 3 catches, 44 yards, 10 carries, 39 yards. 49ers defense had 5 sacks, 2 pass deflections. Packers did have 4 sacks, 4 pass deflections. But what I'm going to read you here, Aaron Rodgers had 20 completions. 18 were to Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. And that's why this is where I say Aaron Rodgers sucked, because he was playing hero ball. He doesn't trust any of his teammates besides Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. He would just throw into double coverage, triple coverage to Devontae Adams when he had guys wide open multiple times. He played like an idiot. He played like a rookie. He played like a complete moron. and nothing made me happier than witnessing it. Aaron Jones, phenomenal game, 12 carries, 41 yards, 9 catches, 129 yards. Devontae Adams, 9 catches, 90 yards, solid game for him. Nobody's fault, but I put, let's say 50-50. Aaron Rodgers, special teams. I can maybe even put more. I can even say 75 Aaron Rodgers because he's the MVP. He's a guy he's supposed to be able to put up more than 13 points. Should be able to score 2 touchdowns on the San Francisco 49ers. You should 100% be able to. You scored 30 points in the first matchup. 10 in the second. 54 yards in the second half. 54 yards. I would love to know, and I would love to know anybody else that still is alive that compares or says that Aaron Rodgers can hold a candle to Tom Brady. Because we have a guy in Patrick Mahomes. I'm not the biggest Mahomes fan, but he almost has more playoffs wins than Aaron Rodgers in 4 seasons. That guy's been dealing with just as bad a defense as Aaron Rodgers has. He's still winning playoff games. Aaron Rodgers is just the most, I don't care what anybody says, most overrated quarterback of all time. He is still a really, really fucking good quarterback. Excuse my language. Kind of, not really, but just in case my grandma, Marsha, if you're listening, I love you, but he's so overrated. Because we're comparing him to all-time greats, we say he's top 5. He's not top 5. Aaron Rodgers is not a top 5 quarterback. He's just not. He's a top 10 quarterback all time. Bottom of that 10. For a guy as great in the regular season as he is, he sucks in the playoffs. He won a Super Bowl early on in his career, hasn't won since, and has been absolutely horrible in the playoffs since. And here's the one thing I will say. Yes, Tom Brady won 3 in the beginning of his career. Yes, the difference, 3-1. And he won another decade. He won a decade before he won another one, but then he won multiple. He won 3 more. Aaron Rodgers is not going to win another Super Bowl. He can win as many MVPs as he wants. He's going to most likely win his 4th. He can win as many as he wants. He will go down as the worst all-time great quarterback in the playoffs. Hands down. Won't even be close. He absolutely sucks in the playoffs. And he sucked Saturday night. The 49ers, again, I thought it would be a really good game. I just thought Aaron Rodgers would be able to score more than 13. The 49ers do really possess the problems that have ruined Aaron Rodgers in the past in the playoffs. They bring a lot of pressure, make him run out of the pot, and he's very good. Very, very good on his feet. I'll give him that. But when they bring pressure and they're on the outside and they're not allowing him to get outside of the pocket, that's what really brings a lot of trouble to you. Because when you're getting on the inside, he has the opportunity to go left, go right, and he can throw on the run like a mofo. But when you bring that pressure on the outside and when you're not giving him any space to run, that's what really messes with Aaron Rodgers. They were just throwing things at him that he wasn't prepared to see. 49ers I think they were the best team to take. They were the real only, besides the Bucs, the team I thought could legitimately take the Packers down the way they did. 49ers, hats off to them, did a phenomenal job in spite of Jimmy Garoppolo sucking. Just Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, and that defense. George Kittle, phenomenal job. Special teams for 49ers, phenomenal job. And they're moving on to the NFC Championship, again, beating Aaron Rodgers. And we'll get into his future with the Packers later. But it's not looking so hot for Aaron Rodgers. Again, I will make this guarantee. Aaron Rodgers, no matter where he goes, if he stays in Green Bay and no matter where he goes, he's never winning another Super Bowl again. I would put money on it. If anybody wants to bet me that Aaron Rodgers will win a Super Bowl, just name the number. I'll put money on it. He's not winning another. He's not holding a Lombardi trophy ever again. He will retire as a one-time Super Bowl champion. One more than me, but I'm nobody. He's supposed to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he choked. again. To Sunday's games I could go on about Aaron Rodgers all night. I could talk about how much I think he sucks in the playoffs, yada, 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 but let's move on before I just continue to rant against him. Anyway, Sunday's game, first game, Rams and Bucks. Rams beat the Bucks 30-27. Rams were absolutely killing them in the first half, and then the Rams in the second half, much like they do, were doing everything. They looked like the 49ers, just giving every opportunity for the Bucks to come back and win this game. It's looking at is what, 27-13, and 4 minutes left or something like that. And I was like, it's over. Then I look back, it's 27-20. Bucks are on the Rams 15. Like, okay, how did this all happen? Because I was kind of in and out. I was in and out of that game. When it was a blowout, I was like, okay, Jesus. I love Tom Brady. I'll root for him, but I'm not really upset that he lost. The guy has 7 Super Bowls. He won, 6 New England. I'm forever grateful. So I feel like that first Super Bowl, I really owed it to him for being an overwhelming supporter. It's not like, dude, you won 7 Super Bowls. I'm not going to feel too bad for you losing. But they came back, and I was like, holy shit. How did this how are the Rams this bad? They looked like the perfect Rams, and then they looked like the Rams after 6 of the last 8 weeks of the regular season. Just like one of the worst teams in the NFL. Giving the ball up, going to the run instead of continuing to just absolutely put points on the board and shove the ball down Brady and the Bucs' throat. And the Bucs weren't clicking. When the defense would make a stop, the offense would suck. When the offense would do good, they get a field goal, and then the Bucs defense would give up a huge touchdown. So it was just neither the offense and the defense weren't clicking at the same time for enough of the game to really. They legitimized it at the end because they tied the game, and then the defense just made the dumbest play of all time, blitzing and then having a one-on-one over the top with Cooper Kupp, won the Triple Crown. Dumbest move of all time. They let Cooper Kupp 9 catches, 183 yards, a touchdown. I didn't get it at the end. I was like, okay, we're going to get an overtime. We're going to get another Brady overtime win. And then for Brady, it would have been awesome because you would have gone up against the 49ers. And that's, I think, Brady's who he most would have liked to go up against, because he probably feels that he had the best chance against the 49ers with the remaining playoff teams. But overall, again, I will emphasize this. I'm a huge Brady fan. He got outplayed by Matthew Stafford. Plain and simple. If you are someone that's just not, we can all be Brady fans. We can, if you're a New England Patriots fan and you have been for your whole life, or you're just a Tom Brady fan, you have to be able to admit when Brady gets outplayed. And he did. Matthew Stafford played much better than Tom Brady over the course of the game. 28-38, 366, 2 touchdowns, rushing touchdown to Brady's 30-54, 329, a touchdown, interception, and a fumble. He had 2 turnovers. Matthew Stafford didn't have any turnovers. That was huge for Matthew Stafford, because we know the last half of the season, he has looked so bad in terms of throwing pick sixes, fumbling the ball, getting sacked in big situations, and not just besides the pick sixes, just throwing a bunch of interceptions and costing them the game. And that's not how the game was. That's not how the Bucs were able to get back into the game. It was other people making mistakes, not Matthew Stafford. So that was huge for him. Huge. Matthew Stafford did a phenomenal job in this game, really forcing the ball to Cooper Kupp and getting it to him in big situations, especially when the Bucs went down, scored, and then they realized, okay, we don't really have much time left here. Like, we need to get down the field. Going into overtime is not something you want to do against Tom Brady. And they got away with it. They beat Brady, their biggest threat. They beat him. Sent Brady packing, sent him into thinking about his future. And the Bucs, when they got back into it, they did all they could. Mike Evans had a great game, 8 catches, 119, a touchdown. Gronk, 4 catches, 85 yards. Just the Rams defense, 3 sacks, 6 pass deflections, just sucked in that second half. It wasn't even that they sucked. It was just, you can only do so much. You can't shut down Tom Brady for too long. They did in the first half, shut him out. Eventually, he's going to put points on the board. If your offense is able to not turn the ball over, you're really going to be put in good hands and in a really good spot. But the Rams were starting to really screw that defense. They were putting them out on the field again and again and again and again. Minute after minute, that Rams defense was out there, and eventually they were going to give up points. That Bucs defense, credit to them. When they needed to step up, they did. They only gave up 10 points in the second half compared to that 20 and what could have been a lot more in that first half. Akers turning it over at the 1. They had a lot of fishy situations in that first half. The Bucs did have a couple bogus calls against them, but that second half, there's a couple calls that really, made up for those first half unsportsmanlike conduct calls, whatever was going on. But I don't blame anybody for the Bucs losing. I'm not going to blame the defense and say that, Brady did enough for them to win the game, because he didn't. When you turn the ball over twice, that's just, and Brady obviously knows that he didn't play his best game. He, capitalized off of what was given to him for the most part, but not every single time. He didn't go out there and look completely dominant. He didn't go out there and look like the best version of Tom Brady. He didn't go out there and look like the regular season Tom Brady we had seen for the majority part of the season. It's just the truth. You have to be able to say that if you are a Tom Brady fan, or if you previously were, or if you are not a blind witness, if you're somebody that can if you're not Skip Bayless. I love Skip, but it's just, I don't understand how Tom Brady outplayed Matthew Stafford. I understand the whole second half, but Matthew Stafford didn't really have to do anything until late in the game, when he went down and then got up in field goal position. He didn't have to do anything. They were up 20-3. The defense was doing a good job. And, he was just going with the game plan in the second half. He didn't want to put them in dangerous spots with throwing stupid passes. They wanted to run the ball. They ran the ball and they fumbled it. Cooper Kupp even fumbled it once. Matthew Stafford played the best game he possibly could have. Absolutely. 1,000%. The game plan in the second half sucked for the Rams. That's just what it was. Sean McVay had a stupid second half plan. Defense, eventually, again, you're never going to shut down Brady for a whole game. It's going to be very, very rare you're going to shut him down, especially when you're giving him the ball time after time after time. And he didn't capitalize off of every opportunity given. There were times where you thought, okay, Brady, they're in, 1st and 10, the Rams 45, looking good. And then they just didn't get any more yards. Go down, look like they're going to get a touchdown, get a field goal. But they did all they could have done. And, I think it's 100% the worst absolute way to lose. I would rather get blown out than come all the way back just to lose. At the last second, like when you think, sorry guys, I keep phoning. I need to learn to shut that piece of junk off. But when you come back and you think, okay, there's not much time left, we can go to overtime, we get the ball, I'm very confident in us going down and scoring. And nope, Matthew Stafford ripped Brady and the Bucs heart out, ate it in front of them, ate half of it, spiked it, stepped on it, and then set it down. And then Matt Gay kicked it and it went in, and their hopes disappeared of being back-to-back champs. It's just what happened. It's just what happened. You win some, you lose some. Brady has so many playoff games, you're going to lose games like that. And the Rams did a phenomenal job in that first half and did what they needed to do in that last possession to win the game. So all credit in the world to them. All credit in the world to Matthew Stafford, who looked yet again phenomenal. 3 total touchdowns, almost 400 yards. Hats off to him. Rams moving on against the 49ers. You will like my pick there too. You'll be surprised probably as well. But to the game, that was the best game, hands down, I've ever seen in my life. Chiefs beating the Bills 42-36. This game was electric. Absolutely electric. We just go through Mahomes and Allen's stats. Mahomes 33 of 44, 378, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries, 69 yards, a touchdown. Josh Allen 27, 37, 32, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, 11 carries, 68 yards. Tyreek Hill 11 receptions, 150 yards, a touchdown. Gabriel Davis making postseason history with 8 receptions, 201 yards, 4 touchdowns, something that's never been done even by Jerry postseason King Rice. This was just an unreal game. There were 25 points scored in the last 2 minutes. Mahomes had 177 yards, I believe, in the last 2 minutes. There's so many stats that were thrown out, I can't keep up with it. But this was just unbelievable. Lived up to the hype and more. Was much better and much more compelling than the AFC Championship game from a year ago. And when we got down to the nitty-gritty, it was 26-21. I was like, okay, Bills are on that 4th and 14. It's looking tough. Absolute bullet. Gabriel Davis committed an illegal act on a grown man. There is no way in professional sports you should be able to disrespect another grown man like Gabriel Davis did to that gentleman's ankles. One of the most beautiful moves I've ever seen one of the cleanest routes I've ever seen in my life, but so illegal and disrespectful that I loved it so much. Gabriel Davis came out of nowhere because Stephon Diggs was nowhere to be found. Gabriel Davis. What a moment. What a game. Josh Allen, perfect game. I said last week, I would be concerned if I was a Bills fan because we just played too well against the Patriots. And you did. You played too well. And you played even better in this game, besides your defense. And you lost. It was nuts. For him to go down and throw that dart, go up 29-26, 29-27. Was it 26-21? So whatever it was, yeah, it might have been 27-20-21, something like that. But whatever it was, Bills went up. And then the Chiefs had what? A little under 2 minutes left. Maybe a little under 2 minutes left. Went down, scored fast as a Tyreek Hill, bomb touchdown. Absolute bomb touchdown. Gave the deuces and was out of there. Scored minute 3 left, minute 13 seconds left, something like that. And I was like, of course. The Buffalo Bills can't catch a break. The Bills the Chiefs could just go down. They can score in 2 plays. It's fucking unreal what that team can do. Unreal, as much as I hate to see it, because I hate to see fucking Jackson Mahomes doing those stupid dumb TikTok dances, probably while the Bills fans are crying. But it's like, okay, it's over. Bills fans, I feel bad for you because I wanted the Bills to win. And I had the Chiefs winning, so I wasn't like super, super sad. Let me get another drink of water here. But then no. The Bills go down and score. 13 seconds left. They leave 13 seconds. And I'm thinking, okay, Bills, this still goes down as one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. There's just no way. There's absolutely no way. The Bills, they should go down there. Maybe they should kick it a little bit short, or maybe just an absolute piss missile. Take maybe 2-3 seconds off the clock just in case. You even had Tony Romo say, I don't agree with this kick, and you're just giving Patrick Mahomes too much time. And it's like 13 seconds. That's not too much time. When has that ever been too much time? And the post after the Mahomes going down and scoring, getting them in field goal position, the Bills just played absolutely stupid football, leaving Tyreek Hill, Travis Scott, just letting them run down the field 15, 16 yards before even doing anything. Just the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, allowing them to get in field goal position. But the funniest memes of all time is saying, Patrick Mahomes scoring in 13 seconds. Show your girlfriend this game and just tell her that 13 seconds is never too short. It's perfect amount of time. It's the funniest memes of all time. But the Chiefs to go down there it's obviously the biggest joke. Say, it's too much time to leave. Who would have thought someone could go down there 13 seconds, get them in field goal position, get the field goal, and whoever won the coin flip, which overtime rules should be changed. They should have been changed ever since the whole Patriots-Chiefs incident. It was more favorable position for me because the Patriots went down and scored. Chiefs probably would have went down and scored. Who knows what would have happened in that game? Now, this game with the Bills and Chiefs easily could have been 185 to 184. Who knows who would have won? Who knows how long this game still could have been going on right now Like we still could see, we could see Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen just be asleep on the field and then wake up and instantly are throwing bomb after bomb after bomb for touchdowns. Like that's just what we could have seen. This could have been a multiple day game. We would have loved it. Real football fans would have loved it. I would have called out of work. I would have been, I'm not leaving my house because I'm watching this game. There's nothing you can do to convince me. You could tell me I'm going to be fired. That's okay. I will go down as having witnessed one of the greatest and the longest lasting football game of all time. There's nothing you can do to convince me that it's not 100% worth it. But you knew who won the coin toss was going to win that game. There was absolutely no shot that if the Chiefs got the ball, which they did, weren't going to score, and the Bills got the ball, they weren't going to score. But I would have loved to see at least maybe, okay, who can score the most points in the 15-minute period? Maybe that. Maybe, yeah, even if you change it for the playoffs, that would have been nice. It was mentioned by Big Cat and PFT. If you just change it for playoffs, who cares? Who cares about the regular season? Let these bums tie, but let these two teams go touchdown for touchdown for touchdown for touchdown. Like, what's the harm in that? The Chiefs got it, went down the field. I was like, once they got it, I knew it was over. It was over. The Bills knew it. Their defense knew it. Josh Allen knew it. The coach knew it. It was over. There was no way that the Chiefs weren't going down there and scoring. And again, biggest bullshit quote of all time. Andy Reid did not tell Patrick Mahomes to be the Grim Reaper. It's not true. I'm not believing it. No matter how many times it goes out, I do not believe that actually happened. Andy Reid's mind was not on that. It was definitely on what he's going to eat after the game. And I love Andy Reid. Love Andy Reid. Big Andy Reid guy. But definitely not what he was saying. But it just came down to touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It's like, okay, how are the Chiefs going to top that? They just topped it. How are the Bills going to top that? Okay, the Bills just topped it, but there's not enough time the Chiefs to top that, and they do. Get to overtime, win the game. Greatest game I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of great games being a Patriots fan, but greatest game I've ever seen in my life. It's better than that Rams and Chiefs game. Just because it's how the hell did half of this happen? How did they let Gabriel Davis get down and score? Get that wide open? How did you let Tyreek Hill get that wide open? How did you let Travis Kelce get that wide open? It's like a lot of dumb defensive plays, but it's like the defense is just constantly on the field. They're going to get tired. 25 points in the last 2 minutes is never going to be done again. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, that is, I think, solidified the new Brady Manning. I know we've constantly seen Mahomes and somebody else be the new Brady Manning, but I think this is the Brady and Manning of this generation. Josh Allen, a hell of a game. Like, you literally cannot, I hate the Bills, and it made me even feel bad for Bills fans and Bills players because of how well they played, and they should have won this game. 100% they should have won this game. Plain and simple. But it's what happens. And you have the Chiefs going up against the Bengals, which I believe is going to be a phenomenal AFC championship game, regardless of what a lot of people say. But we'll cover that one after this next topic, which I feel like is important to go over, because two, guys that got eliminated questioning their future. I'm talking about Brady and Rodgers. Rodgers is questioning whether he will be returning to the Packers. Brady is questioning whether he will return to football. Which, starting with Brady first, is a scary thought, because all I know is watching Tom Brady. It's kind of like when LeBron James retires. It's like, okay, that's really weird. Like, I'm not going to see Tom Brady playing football. Like, in the playoffs, that's fine. I've seen years where Brady hasn't been in the AFC Championship, hasn't been in the Super Bowl. But it's Tom Brady not being in the NFL anymore is a scary thought for me. Because, my favorite players growing up, Tim Duncan, Chipper Jones, Tom Brady. Chipper Jones, Duncan been gone 5 years plus. Brady's still going. MVP caliber season. They got to the divisional. They lost, but he still has a great team. Obviously, they have guys they're going to lose in free agency, but Brady has dropped some quotes that, he's obviously, people have asked him about retirement. He said, yada, 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 but he's giving more in-depth answers than he has ever given. that I've ever heard Tom Brady give when it comes to retirement. He's considering family. He's considering, we think we all live forever. We don't. We think we play forever. We don't. My wife hates to see me go out there and get hit. I deserve to be a husband to her. I deserve to be a better father to the kids. And, it's shocking. I thought when I first heard it, and I was like, it's just Brady loves football too much. He just loves what he's, done with this team. He loves the new, system he's in, the environment. And there's just no way Brady, he's just played way too well. And then I kind of heard the quotes coming out, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, okay, like, what does Brady have left? Okay, you win another Super Bowl that's 7-8. Yes, it's like, wow, that's like insanely impressive. But is it worth another year? It's like, okay, you have the passing yards, passing touchdowns record by a mile now. Is it worth to keep going? Like, what record don't you have? Playoff records. You have you have better records than franchises. You have more wins than franchises. You have more Super Bowls than franchises. And the more I just thought about it, I was like, what does Brady have to come back to? They're going to lose some guys. They brought back their whole team. I think he was hoping for the back-to-back, walk away with that. But I think he even still walks away on a positive note. You walked away without looking like an old quarterback, like a guy who was just on the verge of retirement, like the Drew Brees, especially like the Peyton Manning. It was just painful to see, Peyton his last season. He wasn't Peyton at all. Guys like Brett Favre too. He had the, maybe that good year, but, Brady's had the good year 5 years into his 40s. And this is his first legitimate, I think, thought about retiring. My personal opinion, obviously it's been talked about before, but I think this is Brady's legitimate first time himself saying to himself, should I retire? He's done so much for the game. There's eventually one day where you're going to stop playing, where you're ending on a note where it's like, Tom, okay, you went out having an MVP caliber season. You won a Super Bowl with a new team. You proved everybody that believed that you needed Belichick wrong, and you won another Super Bowl. What do you need to prove? I understand people who say, well, his health's fine. The quarterback, it's a very easy game for the quarterback nowadays compared to what it was when he first started in the NFL, which is true, but it's still his older body, even though he takes very good care of himself, is still more capable of taking damage from minor hits than the younger guys. He's played for so long. He's been able to push Giselle off for years because she's wanted him out for years. And what the wife, it's from what I hear, because I don't have a wife, but from what I hear, it's very hard to continue to fight the wife on things she doesn't want you to do. And, Brady has the perfect life to go back to. He has an amazing wife. He has amazing kids. He has an amazing family. Lives in an amazing house. It's just, he's so stuck between leaving and not leaving because of what hobbies does he have? What does he know besides football? What does he love besides football? And, beforehand, I was 90% sure Brady wasn't going to retire. I'm 50-50 right now, guys. I'm 50-50. And that's a big change. Is just the quotes that have been coming out on the daily from Brady is just, sorry if you guys see my hands down here. I'm picking skin. But very confused about Brady and what he's going to do. It's definitely going to be very interesting to see if he moves on, because if he does, it's like Big Ben can't retire because or either that or they can't put him in first ballot because Big Ben, nobody will care that he went into the Hall of Fame because it'll be the Brady Hall of Fame show. But if that's the last we've seen Tom Brady, kind of dropping a bomb, because it was like my favorite, Tim Duncan, same way. He didn't have he just dropped at the end. This is my final season. I'm done. I don't tell anybody. I don't need to tell anybody. Like I'm focused on the season at hand. I'm focused on winning another championship, making a playoff run. Didn't happen, but I'm done. I've done enough in this game. And that's what Tom Brady might be dropping here. He might be done. That's the last time we ever see Tom Brady. It's like, wow. That's unreal to see. Obviously, it sucks to lose. I can see why it would suck to lose that way, especially if you knew to yourself, were saying to yourself, if we win another championship, I'm done. So we'll see what comes out. It could be just a fake, and Brady's just being a little sentimental after losing that game, but we'll see how it goes. But to move to Rodgers, I'm not really all for seeing another Rodgers pull a woe is me, feel bad for me, Packers fans, bring me back. I just think he should leave, because the more he stays in Green Bay, the more Aaron Rodgers has been like Brett Favre. He should just leave. I don't see why obviously you want Aaron Rodgers on your team. If you're Green Bay, you want him, but you have a lot of guys contracts who are up, and Rodgers has expressed he's not in the mood for a rebuild. He's too late in his career, but what more can the Packers do? They're not going to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. It would have to be a trade. Excuse me, guys, for 1 second. I'm going to go off camera real quick because I got a runny nose. I'm not blowing my nose on camera, but there's not much more they can do. The team they have, they're going to lose pieces, and it's not going to lead to a Super Bowl. Rodgers, there's places he can go. You can go to Pittsburgh, go to Denver. People are saying New England. Don't go to New England, please, God. We have Mac Jones. We don't need Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what people say. But it's just turning more and more and more into Brett Favre territory that Aaron Rodgers is leaking in, because retiring or leaving, leaving year after year after year. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Teams like we want Aaron, like we wanted Brett Favre, blah, blah, blah. But the whole tenure of Aaron Rodgers definitely hasn't lived up to what they expected in terms of championships. So I don't know what to expect, because you could tell, after the game, it's just much like last year. He was pissed off they lost. He wasn't really, he wasn't all too happy about it. He wasn't 100% sure on his future. And obviously the coaching staff, the GM, the owners, everybody's going to want Aaron Rodgers back. Why wouldn't you want Aaron Rodgers on your team? Does he want to be back? I don't think he does. I think he's going to go somewhere else, but they're still not going to win. But he wants to go somewhere, see if he can win, see if they can give a better opportunity, because he's at a stage of his career. Obviously, he shouldn't want to rebuild. But it's just, to me, it's better if the Packers just move on now, because you're getting to the point where it's closer and closer to the end of like what Brett Favre was doing. And the Packers, just the fans, the organization does not need to go through another Brett Favre and what he did, threaten to do this, threaten to do that. Obviously, the Packers haven't made it the most suitable situation in certain players they've drafted while Aaron's there in the last few years. But last 2 years were the best opportunities that they had ever since they won the Super Bowl to win another championship, and they didn't do it. So I think the Rodgers Packers era should be done. I think he has one more year. They'd have to trade him, and I think they should. You get a lot of picks, or you get, whatever you get for him, trade him, get it over with, and the misery, suffering of his that he looks like he has, the woe is me energy that he has. And if we see Aaron Rodgers somewhere else, who knows what it'll look like. I can, again, guarantee you it's not going to be a championship, guys. But we'll see how this develops, because of like last year with Aaron Rodgers in the Packers situation, it carried on for months and months and months. And we were, okay, he's definitely leaving. No, he's definitely staying. Oh, maybe he's kind of half and half. Oh, no, now he's definitely leaving. Oh, now he's definitely staying. It's like, we don't know what's going through Aaron Rodgers' head. We never will know what's going through Aaron Rodgers' head. And whatever happens, happens. Wherever he goes, he goes. I don't really think it's that big a deal, but obviously it makes for big news when one of the best quarterbacks, the guy who's going to be a fourth-time MVP this season, when he wins the MVP after just losing. He just lost the divisional game, obviously very upset, but it's very big news when he's saying he is still thinking about his future with that organization. But let's go on to the last topic, conference championship games. Chiefs, Bengals, Rams, 49ers. We have a 2 and 4 seed, 4 and 6 seed. Two very, very good games. These two teams, again, have played each other during the regular season. We look at the Bengals and Chiefs. They met in week 16. The Bengals beat the Chiefs 34-31. Look at the Rams 49ers, met in week 10. 49ers smoked the Rams 31-10. It was kind of during that lull where the Rams looked very good beginning of the season, then looked shit, and then looked good. 49ers kind of met them at that juncture of the season. And they both, the underdogs and the Bengals and the 49ers possess a lot of things that really present a lot of issues to the Chiefs and Rams. Looking at the Bengals, obviously we know it's going to be a shootout. It was 34-31 the first time. Burrow was 446 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 266 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Mahomes had a lesser game, 259, 2 touchdowns. But you look at Darrell Williams, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's where the other 2 touchdowns came from. Touchdown. That was just the emphasis of this game, touchdowns. And again, even though the Chiefs defense gave up a lot, they sacked Joe Burrow 4 times. Bengals had 0. I'm not expecting really the Bengals to get to Patrick Mahomes. They don't have the capability of pressuring him. I think what they do have the capability of doing is stopping the run and just knowing that it's going to be Patrick Mahomes throwing against their secondary. Maybe they're feeling a little bit confident because they just picked off Ryan Tannehill 3 times. They feel very confident because they beat the Chiefs not too long ago. It's not like, okay, you beat the Chiefs, during their lull in the beginning of the season. No, they beat them after they ended their huge win streak. The Chiefs went in there, were doing very good in the first half, and then gave it up and lost the game. Joe Burrow definitely is not going to be afraid of going up against a mediocre Chiefs defense. Jamar Chase is going to go in there with sky-high confidence. There's nobody on that team that can stop him. Joe Mixon, he's definitely going to go in there, super dual threat. And when you look at what the Bengals secondary did, Kelsey and Hill combined last game had 11 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. So they did a good job against the main guys, but that's, again, you look at that and you go, shit, okay. Chase had the same amount of receptions and 200 more yards and 2 more touchdowns than Kelsey and Hill combined, and they only won by 3. That's where it kind of gets scary in the situations, and you assess how you beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You beat them, okay, if you face them again, you have to kind of account for certain things. You have to account for Kelsey and Hill didn't kill you, you won the game. Mahomes had a somewhat mediocre game. That's how you won the game. Your quarterback went off for 446, 4 touchdowns. Okay, all perfect leads to the recipe to beat the Chiefs. But can you account for all of those things happening again? That's the problem that a lot of people are running into when predicting the Bengals to win. When predicting that this game to be close. I think you're nuts if you don't think this game's going to be close, because I think the Bengals offense can score just as much as the Chiefs offense. I think the Bengals defense is better than the Chiefs defense by a slight edge. Both defenses aren't that great. But I think in terms of if you're going to add up, okay, what are they best at on the defensive end? Okay, you look at Bengals rush defense. It's better than anything that the Chiefs have on the defensive side. The Chiefs do have a better offense, but the Bengals aren't far behind. You got Mahomes, okay, they got Burrow. They have a better running back with Mixon. Okay, you got Hill, they got Chase. You got Kelsey, they got Higgins. Okay? It's very almost even playing field. And I just love the confidence that the Bengals have right now. It's just extremely sky high. I love it. I love the run they're on, and I don't want that run to stop. And so I don't care what anybody says, thinks, wants to argue about. If you call me an idiot, call me a clown, cool. A lot of people thought the Titans were going to kill them. Obviously, Chiefs much better than the Titans. I think Bengals beat the Chiefs. I love the Bengals. I love what they're doing. I absolutely love the run they're on. I want to see the run continue. Mostly, I just want to see Jackson Mahomes not do damn TikTok dances. I don't want to see his wife spraying liquor or alcohol. It wasn't liquor, but whatever. Alcohol on minors. Very disgusting act. Should be in jail or just heavily fined on the Rodgers scale. Jackson Mahomes, I would love to see him do some sad tweets, some sad TikTok dances after Joe Burrow beats his brother 33-30. Final prediction, final word, next game. Next game. No more TikTok dances. No more. NFC Championship game, Rams and 49ers again. 49ers beat the Rams 31-10. Jimmy Garoppolo was 15-19, 182 for 2 touchdowns. Stafford, one of those games for him. He's 26 of 41, 243, a touchdown, 2 picks. Who had the big games, you're thinking? Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries, 91 yards. Deebo Samuel, 5 receptions, 97 yards, a touchdown, 5 carries, 36 yards, a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 11 receptions, 122. He had his usual big game, his usual Cooper Kupp game this year. Neither defense, obviously in terms of showing the statistics to show dominant display, the 49ers didn't have that. But they had 2 sacks. They didn't have the statistics to show for it, but to hold the Rams to 10 points after how the Rams are looking now, that 49ers defense possesses some problems. The big key here is, much like they did to Aaron Rodgers, get to the quarterback, pressure the quarterback, make Stafford commit turnovers, and he is due. Stafford is due for a multi-interception game, guys. I don't know if you understand that. He is due. He can't play that well for that long. Maybe he can, and maybe it comes in the Super Bowl. But Matthew Stafford is destined for some interceptions, for some turnovers. He's destined for a Matthew Stafford-esque performance. If it comes against the 49ers, we could see a 6 seed run to the Super Bowl. And what I love about the 49ers, I just love that defensive front. I love how just aggressive that defense is. They don't care if they give up a big play. If they get in the red zone, they're gonna hold you. You're not going to easily score on them. You go on the offensive side, Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, George Kittle. Very, very tough offense to contain. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to have a very, very long day. That 49ers offensive line, obviously, they have the ability to protect Jimmy Garoppolo. They only gave up 1 sack last time. But it's just going to be, can Jimmy Garoppolo, the times they do pressure him, the times they do get to him, can he play smart? Can he just not throw a stupid pass and get picked off? I believe he hasn't played that well in the playoffs thus far, but could we see a Jimmy Garoppolo good game? 100%. We 100% could see a very, very good game from Jimmy Garoppolo here. That's where it's tough. The prediction time. It's very, very tough to predict who's going to win this game. Because the Rams, they looked very, very good. They looked phenomenal in that first half against the Buccaneers. Phenomenal in that first half. But then they became the Rams. The 49ers just did a number on Aaron Rodgers and one of the best offenses in the NFL. They did a number on him. They play too good. We don't know. But where I see this game going, I think 49ers, like the Bengals, all-time confidence. All-time confidence. And they said, okay, we beat you guys in the regular season. Why can't we do it in the playoffs? We haven't even hit our full stride in terms of on offense. Guys are a little, jacked up, like Deebo and George, but they'll battle through it. And that's why I'm going to take a little sip of water before I say it, but I have the 49ers scoring 30, the Rams 27. So I have a 49ers Bengals Super Bowl. And I can just give a quick shout out, excuse me. It's a coworker of mine, Joe, who said he would love to see the Super Bowl. He said, you never know what can happen. It's his, Joe, I'm going with you. Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. Gonna happen. My prediction, not going to give it who I think wins that game, but Joe Big Nuts Burrow and Deebo Samuel will lead their teams to victory, and the world will be shocked. Will be shocked. I'm expecting phenomenal games. I'm expecting phenomenal performances, and I just really am super, super excited for what this weekend is going to bring for us yet again. Thank you, football gods. Thank you. But that's all I have for you guys. I could talk about football for another hour and a half. I could go back and just continue talking about what I think is going to happen, how amazing those games were. But we only have a certain amount of time. But that's all I have for you guys this episode. You can listen on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast. Again, this episode, I 1,000% promise this will be on the Sports Wave YouTube page. So sorry if you hear that dumb dog park in the background. I thought that was like, I thought that was just something going on with the audio. But again, yes, listen on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. This will be on for visual on the Sports Wave YouTube page. Follow the Instagram page, follow the Twitter page, and like the Facebook page. A lot of pages to like, a lot of pages to follow. If you guys want to do it, everybody that's listening probably already has. But thank you guys so much for the love and support. Hope you guys enjoyed this weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. We're going to have some great, great games. So thank you guys so much. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Catch you at 106.